In the past few weeks, Kanye West has been on an internet rampage, tweeting controversial thoughts, making comments supporting Donald Trump, and promising philosophical books. He spoke about this, and everything else, on April 18th with his friend Charlemagne the God in a nearly 2-hour-long interview, calling his 2016 breakdown and hospitalization a breakthrough, and saying he's now in the best place he's been. The word crazy, and why he wants to change the way people use it. He says,
I don't want to say crazy because I also want to change the stigma of crazy, and I want to change the stigma of mental health, period. And I have not done no extra study on it. We at the beginning of it, we're at the beginning of the conversation, but best believe I'm going to take the stigma off the word crazy. But let's just say for now, people will take something that's enlightened, put it in a different.
Obama calling him a jackass after the interruption. He says,
And it would have been good if this video didn't get out. I think should have communicated to me directly. So just tell me you love me. That's all, and tell them.
Why he doesn't need therapy. He says,
Nah, I use the world as my therapy, as my therapist. Anyone I talk to is my therapist.
Returning to Twitter, he says,
yeah, but I'm not even, the thoughts that I'm getting out on Twitter right now, and that, I think everything is therapeutic, but I'm not doing it as a form of personal therapy. It's just an innate feeling I want to express. I decided to use this platform to express some breakthroughs that I've had since going to the hospital.
His feud with Jay-Z, which he says is over. He says,
I was hurt about them not coming to the wedding. I understand they was going through some things, but if it's family, you're not going to miss a wedding.
Why he used to rant on stage. He says,
I think we're in a place now where bravery is more important than perfection. Feeling is more important than thought. People they put so much thought into it. What's going to happen? So I actually think that the rants came from a place of bravery, and I had enough of the politics. And that's the world that we're in right now. Like, people are speaking their truth.
Not having any confidence after his 2016 hospitalization. He says,
I never had the empathy for people who lacked confidence. I had so much of it, I didn't know what it was like to be without it.
Do you mean zero confidence, or you just was less confident than usual?
It just wasn't Black Panther, Superman level confidence. It was, it was placed into the simulation and shit. I was like, completely could be like molded and controlled. And even when I did the next fashion show, it got all these good reviews. Yeah, because I was less confident. Because it's like, there, boy, that's exactly what we wanted.
Slavery and icons from the past. He says,
we definitely are dealing with racism, but I want to push future concepts. Now I'm giving you two streams of consciousness in one. I want to talk about my wife. I also want to talk about Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill.
We're following you. We're following you now. You set it up good. Okay.
That was the moment that I wanted to use Bitcoin, when I saw Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill.
Why?
It's like when you just see like all the slave movies, it's like, why you got to keep reminding us about slavery? Why don't you show us, put Michael Jordan on a $20 bill? I know this is going to cause an uproar, but certain icons is just too far in the past and not relatable, and that's what makes them safe. Like, they'll let you go on the Grammys and talk about slavery and all that and racism, because it's not talking about buying stock. It's not talking about buying property. You can complain as hard as you want on that platform, but it's not scary.
Why he met with Donald Trump, he says.
So many people around me said, don't express your feelings. Why? Your brand, you're this, you're that, you're that. Because people, first thing they say is racism. They say, well, what makes George Bush any more racist than Trump? Is a question my friend asked me. My response is, well, racism isn't the deal breaker for me. If that was the case, I wouldn't live in America. But I'm not going to back down at that. I'm not going to let myself off easy by saying, oh, I met with Trump just because I was going through something. I ain't going to give the universe that. Nah, I'm going to face it, and they going to face me. This was the Ye that wanted to do something to change something. And I would meet with him today, and I would talk about Chicago. This is what I wanted to talk about. The idea of black perfection. Like a black person can't be imperfect in the public eye. That's a form of control. I'm here to show you imperfection.
Why he supported Trump, he says.
I don't have all the answers that a celebrity's supposed to have, but I could tell you that when he was running, it's like I felt something. It's like the fact that he won, it's like it proved something. It proved that anything is possible in America.
Signing with Nike to create the first Yeezy sneaker, he says.
The dude that didn't sign me at Puma definitely needs to lose his job.
His reach and building his brand, he says.
You know, if I really had some percentage that related to my actual influence, I'd be like a multi-trillionaire. So if people, want to build their own brand, actually need to be as far away from me as possible to get out of the shadow.
The valuation of his company, he says.
I felt like learning the valuation of just even the company and what I built was like a slave getting a social security number. It's like I got my rights.
People who critique Obama, he says.
This is complex because these are voices. I might be president one day, so I might be in that situation.